Welcome to Tara Brabazon's podcast. Comfort is a cage. Happiness is a lure. I taught my first courses as a tutor, an occasional lecturer, described at the time as a teaching apprentice, in 1992. This is my 30th year of academic life. This career has spanned 9 universities in 4 countries. These decades have been marinated by fear, disgust, despair, occasional hope, frequent pride in response to the teaching, learning and research of colleagues and students. Happiness was never a goal or an option. I have not had the privilege of stable jobs in posh institutions, working in disciplines respected by national governments. Instead, I have jumped from glass cliff to glass cliff post. Glass cliff remains an evocative phrase that captures the capacity to gain a contract job with a great view of an organisation, but lacking the ability to move in any direction. Glass cliffs are pretty crowded these days. We're all the precariat now. Colleagues who hit every metric, research outputs, research income, higher degree students, impact and engagement, are still restructured out of the organisation, often because they are difficult. An intriguing word. They were not difficult. They were different from the people holding positions of power. My career has not been joyful or safe, but comfort is a cage. Happiness is the lure. The first 10 years of my career, I learned my craft as a teacher. The second decade enabled my research trajectory and expertise in ontology, epistemology and methodology. This third decade has contained leadership posts, so I can actively, albeit from a glass cliff, activate a commitment to collegiality, collaboration and followership. I have not sat in the car park of academic life. I have gone to the dance. Sometimes the resultant movement was a destructive body slam. Frequently, it was a disappointment. But occasionally, as the acid house dance track of life soars, these peak moments of teaching, research and leadership have been stunning, inspirational, amazing, beautiful. The entry fee into this dance is high. We as academics lose any sense of home. In the last 15 years of my academic career, my life, I have lived in temporary accommodation, including motels, hotels, bed and breakfasts and Airbnbs for 26 months. And counting. The instability of higher education has an impact on teaching and research, but also family life. For those 26 months, and counting, I have lived out of 2 suitcases, occasionally with the convenience of a microwave. The instability of our organisations is performed through these liminal homes. The only decision worse than accepting a perilous post in a dodgy university is to buy a house in the town or the city in which this dubious job is located. I have learned to move into a motel, sit and watch the daily lived experience of leadership and followership and assess the stability of the university. Then, if needed, I can check out of the Hotel California. The alternative to this transitory life that was experienced by a senior colleague of mine involved owning 3 houses in 2 countries during a recession as he bounced from job to job to job. The stress broke him and his marriage. Have I been happy in this 30-year career? No. There is a reason. Happiness has never been the aim. Knowledge discovery and dissemination, integrity, decency, kindness and compassion are the point. As I look back on all these jobs and all these countries, I was most satisfied and fulfilled when I was the professor of creative media and the head of a creative media department in a demeaned university in the north of England. No time was wasted on rankings or international branding. Instead, every day was provocative and intriguing. There was laughter and intellectual discussions with colleagues. I taught the most extraordinary first-year students in my career. It was a tough place. From that brutality, a startling beauty was forged. My contract for that post was incredibly unstable. The pay was low. I could be sacked with 1 month's notice. The senior leadership were frightening and ruthless. It was a fragile and cracked glass cliff. Therefore, when the opportunity emerged for a more stable working environment as a head of school in Australia, I jumped from one cliff to another. In this new location, I made great friends, solid academic work was conducted, but it was the north of England where I felt useful to a community and university. I was not there for long, but much of my heart and most of my hopes for higher education still live in the north. I continue to travel the world, learning and teaching and reading and writing and thinking, but the north matters. To cite Christopher Eccleston's regeneration of Doctor Who, quote, "Lots of planets have a north," end of quote. I hope you will find your north and know that when you do, you will have to leave it. Thank you for joining me for Tara Brabazon's podcast. This podcast was released by Cadence Publishing.